Hello. In this video, I want to talk about leadership qualities and some more pretty cool stuff I learned from Jocko Willink. But before I begin, down below, there's a link in the description. If you do click on it, there's training on how someone can really make some really good money, have a lot of fun online. So it's about that. Now, if you don't know who Jocko is, he's basically a complete badass monster, Navy SEAL, who leads Navy SEALs. He's like a commander. He also is in charge of all the training on the West Coast for Navy SEAls. Um, and one of the things I always wondered about me is like, say if you're like in the military, especially if you're like a trained killer, like a Navy SEAL, how do you adapt to what everybody else does in civilian life? How do you go from that to that? I mean, that's not easy, right? How do you do it? And what Joko did, which I thought was complete genius and very, very smart, is he took what was adaptable, what he learned in the military, like leadership, many other skills that he could learn, pick up, and that you could actually apply to the marketplace and sell. So he writes books about what happened in the military. He has a business and consulting. He does speeches, and mostly, I just read this book called Complete Ownership. It's about leadership, and basically the title says it all. I mean, complete ownership. So always blame yourself if you're a leader. If things don't go right, guess whose fault it is? Yeah, the leader's fault. And according to him, when a bad SEAL leader walked into a debrief and blamed everybody else, that attitude was picked up by the team, okay? And then followed suit. They did that, monkey see, monkey do. They all blamed everyone else. The team became ineffective and unable to properly execute a plan. It's just a bad cultural vibe. And whether a team succeeds or fails, it all comes up to the leader. There's no bad teams, just bad leaders, according to him. And he actually had a good. And during BUDS training, when people train to be Navy SEALs, they have to carry these boats. And he noticed, well, the first place team is good. They get rewards. The last place team, you don't want to be. And what they did was they switched leaders. From the last place team became the first place team. The leader of the first place team went to the last place team. Guess what happened? Yeah, the team that was last kept coming in last over and over again. The next race, because they would race, they went all the way to the first place just by changing the leader. So it's a huge difference that was made. Now, another very important quality he talks about in this book is a leader needs to believe in the mission, okay? In the book, he tells a story about how he had to bring Iraq soldiers along on his missions with his Navy SEAL buddies and his team. Now, what he says in the book, for a SEAL to put his life in the hands of someone he doesn't know, a person he barely has worked with, is not well trained, undisciplined, speaks another language, and not trustworthy, is really asking a hell of a lot, man. It really kind of is if you think about it. And all the SEALs, even Joko's like, who was the commander at the time, he's like, what the? We don't like this shit, man. We don't want to do this. They didn't like it. But Joko kept asking himself, well, why would his leaders, which are smart, they want to win, why do they want us to do this? What do you think? Now, if the U.S. military didn't maintain order in Iraq, who would? Yeah. If they didn't train the Iraq people to do the job, the U.S. would be there for generations and generations, and nobody wanted that. They all want to go home to their families and do hobbies or whatever. Nobody wants to be out in some war zone shooting each other. I guess take that back. Maybe some people do. But yeah, the U.S. military. No. So what happened was, well, another point he makes is they needed to take Iraq soldiers with them on every operation, every one. Otherwise, their plans would not get approved. And So what he talks about in this book is you have to write all these PowerPoint presentations and you have to do all this selling to go, okay, can we go out and do this operation? And they have to get the approval. I thought that was interesting. And sometimes Joko would do so many PowerPoint presentations, he would joke saying, like he had a little batch, PowerPoint presentator operator, 10,000 hours, like a badge for doing PowerPoint just to sell his operations. I didn't know that. Um, all right, so if Joko didn't believe in taking out Iraq soldiers with him, he could have convinced his people, his team about it. So if he expressed doubt or openly questioned the wisdom of the plan in front of the troops, they would never believe in it or commit to it. And guess what would happen? Yeah, the mission would fail. They're like, what the hell are we doing out here? And you looked at that in some of these war zones, like, a classic example would be like Vietnam. There's what the hell are we doing? People doing out in Vietnam, shooting each other, and some people just, just if you don't get behind what the hell you're doing out there, how do you do it? I don't know. It's a good question, and so that's very important. He talks about, and when leaders receive an order that they themselves question, they don't understand it. They must ask the question, why? Why are we being asked to do this? It's very kind of important if you think about it. If they cannot determine a satisfactory answer themselves, they must ask questions up the chain of command until they understand why. So if frontline leaders and troops understand why, they can move forward, fully believe in what they're doing, get passionate, get behind it, get excited, and really put their enthusiasm behind it, okay? And not just in war, but it's also in business too. It is. Apply the same thing to in business. It completely makes sense to me. Another example of this, which I'm thinking about, which I thought was always kind of crazy, is World War I. That was crazy. You'd be in the trenches and you see a bunch of people run up to machine guns and die, and then your commander's like, "Okay, guys, you guys get ready to come up next." Oh man, I would be like, hell no. And nobody was like, "Hey boss, what's going on here? We need to change things up. This shit ain't working, man." And nobody said shit. They just kind of hopped out of the trench, ran to their death. I mean, just insanity. And Joko was asked, I watched an interview with Joko. It was also with Ty Lopez. And Joko was like, yeah, you have to question things, If you think this shit's stupid, you have an obligation to go, yo, boss, this shit ain't working. Anyways, one more last thing he talks about in this book, which I thought was interesting. He says that, oh yeah, there's a term called decentralized command. Okay, this means that as a leader, you could only have so much time and energy to lead people. So the best thing to do is you need to empower people, but beneath the chain of command, like below you, to also be a leader as well and pick up the slack and make decisions, because you can't make all the decisions. Think about in business and in life. It's good to inspire people to be better than you. It really is. And the biggest problem with that is we have egos. He even talks about in that book too, where there's a group of Iraq soldiers came in that were really good. They had really good weapons, good training, and one of the guys that was the commander was like, "Hey, I don't know if we need to tell these guys everything, because then we don't want them being too good." And Joko's like, "What are you talking about, man? We're on the same team." So Joko says good. You got to put your ego aside, put the mission first, and put the team first, okay? And I think that's really good. That's what he talks about, complete ownership. The ego is the problem a lot of times. Anyways, just my thoughts. I hope you like this video on, leadership qualities, some ideas, what makes a leader. If you did like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. So I appreciate that. Now, if you are interested in, online marketing, making money on the side, which is a really good thing to do. The reason why, there's a lot of reasons. When you have more money, you have more options. Especially if you're at a job. And the sad part is nowadays, job security is really hard to find. You can get fired for really any reason. It happened to me a couple times, really. So it's always good to kind of, how should I say, it's not be dependent on one boss or one job for everything. And then if you get fired, you're like, oh my God, my life's over. So that's a good one reason why it's a good idea to make money online. But one of my biggest fears was, I don't know, what if I don't do this crap? I don't make no money. You know, I'm not good at it, wasting my time and energy and blah, blah, blah. And that is a good fear. That is. And one of the ways not to do that is you have to learn from people who are really, really good, know what they're doing, and that's a shortcut. That way you don't have to do all the mistakes they did. You can learn from their mistakes, which is the best way to learn. Okay, that's why I like to read books on, you know, from other people, because you can learn from their mistakes and just don't do that. Because I made a lot of mistakes too in life. That's okay. Um, so, oh yeah, and it is not that difficult. You know, we as humans, we're too smart. We make things more complicated than they need to be. I'm an idiot, okay? I'm a stupid. I'm not even that smart, and I could do it, okay? So if you're interested in making some money online, all you gotta do is just click that link below. Check it out. I'm sure you'll love it. I hope you like this video, and have a really good rest of your day. All right, bye.